Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our little corner of the crypto space. I'm Paul Brooker, and I am joined by Zester. How are you?
Oh, doing well, Paul. How about yourself?
Well, I'm watching the crypto bloodbath continue. That little bit more, considering I just bought a little bit more XRP today as well, and a bit of Bitcoin on the side. And
Hmm.
well, I'm down already. So I'm not overly happy, but likewise, I am used to price corrections. So
Hmm.
yeah.
No,
What
no,
about you?
absolutely. It's definitely been not only today, for a little while, it's been far easier to not look at the charts. A lot less worry, but it is something, and you and I were talking about this one before the show that you kind of get used to in the crypto space over time. It's always alarming. But you do begin to get desensitized towards it. And you do exactly like what you said. You go in and say, hey, today's the day. I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy a little bit of XRP and buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Not an easy thing to do, though, when you're watching and trying to catch a falling knife.
Mhm. No, it's not. But I tend to stick to the one rule which I've stuck to through my entire crypto journey: buy on the way down, sell on the way up. That's the only
Hmm.
rule. Because all I can tell you is every time I've tried to game the market and think, oh, yeah, I'll just buy now or this, I look for a good solid drop and I'm like, right, I'll buy a little bit more. But I'm not going all in. These
Hmm.
people who think, right, it's dropped 50 cents, I'm going all in. Are you mad? No one
Hmm.
can gauge the bottom. Nobody. No one can gauge the top either. So you've got to buy with a sensible head on you. And luckily, I've got time on my side. I'm not young, but I'm not old either. So I
Hmm.
know in the long term, and this is going off the charts, I'm not saying this is definitely what's going to happen, crypto goes up. Because as long as the world is printing money and they're allowed to print money, crypto will go up. But
Hmm.
that's just me. What are your thoughts
Yep.
on that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you continue to see rampant inflation, it's really not too much of a worry that the chart's not going to keep staying green. But I think you hit on one of the best, and not just in crypto, but one of the most important things for folks to look at, regardless of what market you're considering. When over 50% of everyone out there, the vast majority of the public is screaming buy, that probably is a bad sign. When over 50% of people are screaming sell, 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 that's probably the time to buy. Um, it's one of those things. Yeah, buy when it runs red, sell when it's green. It does tend to be the wiser action, but that's just not how we work. We're social creatures. We jump in on the fear of missing out in both directions.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's hard to fight those instincts. When everyone's smiling and happy, and you're like, yeah, I think now's the time to buy in. Well, that's because they've all made money.
Hmm.
Everybody's up. And someone said to me, with crypto, you've got to find the next sucker who's willing to pay for it more than what you paid for it. Now, if everyone around you is saying, I've made money, I'm up, it means the pool of money has gotten considerably smaller
Hmm.
than what it was when you were the one saying, I'm buying it when it's 35 cents. Oh my God, why are you buying that? Blah, 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 blah. I know there's a lot more factors involved in this, but
Yeah.
that's when I, for argument's sake, bought XRP. I bought it when it
Hmm.
was super cheap because I looked at the fundamentals of it, the business model, etc., and I was happy to take that. But I wasn't putting all my money in, though. You'd
Hmm.
be mad to put all your money in. It makes you highly emotional. It is still gambling at the end of the day.
Hmm. Yeah. And no, dollar cost averaging. DCA. I guess for you, it's what is it? PCA? Pound cost averaging. But
Yeah.
the idea maintains you're far better off with a dollar cost averaging strategy than trying to pinpoint the perfect starting time. But that's not how people like to do things. They really don't, and I get it. It's the same idea that I've had many times that I'm making a trade. I'm like, now, well, what if? what if, my dollar cost average, well, I'm going to lose money if it goes up. I'm going to have less of the token than I would if I had just gone ahead and made the whole purchase today. But when you stretch out success on a retirement level timeline, you'd have been far better off DCing the entire time rather than trying to be the luckiest guy in the room.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a friend of mine, he said, Paul, he said, I used to get emotional about crypto. I would check it more times than I did checking the time. He
Hmm.
went, do you know how I now work? I buy it and I forget about it. I stick it on my cold wallet and I forget about it. He said, I've bought it, I keep transferring it to it, but I just forget about it because that
Hmm.
is not my sole goal. I'm still going to go to work tomorrow. I'm still going to put my money into my mortgage. I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to do
Yep.
that. But that's my fun part. It should be fun. Buying crypto should be fun, not a stressful venture
Hmm.
in any way, shape. If you are sitting here right now stressing out, sell it, go buy gold, guaranteed it's going to go up in the future. Guaranteed.
Hmm.
Walk away from
Hmm.
crypto now. But that's, some
Hmm.
people haven't got the stomach for the risk.
Yeah. No, I think about the things I'm going to have when I'm retired. I think about those. It's all a matter of timeline. Um, it's all a matter of timeline. And so, looking at the price drops of today, the price drops that have occurred in the past, I'll promise you, when I was first starting to spend money that I didn't really have much to be throwing in back in 2016, but it was a lot to me. The drop of 2017 and 2018, I forgot about certain cryptos I bought because it was too painful to look at them. That was literally why. I had wallets that I had set off that I was like, I can't look at these wallets. Um, I can say now, those wallets ended up making me money. It's a very good thing that I stopped and that I did that and that I was unable to literally sell it because it hurt too much at the time. It was all a matter of the timeline. I was operating under a Zach is going to be a millionaire and retired in a year mentality when I first started with crypto, and that wasn't realistic. And so, as soon as I did change that mindset, it became so much easier. Now, when I see a crypto drop, I put it off into that same wallet and that I did essentially with those cryptos in the past. I had, I don't know if you remember, it was Rye,
No,
RAI. I
no.
had bought Rye back in 2016. It plummeted to nothing from like $4. They rebranded to Nano. A couple years back, it hit $10. I had bought for 10 cents. But I was down the whole time. I was 90% down for 5 years. I was 90 plus percent down on that investment. And it was all a matter of time. You got to stretch out the timelines. If the money is something you need, it needs to avoid crypto or it needs to go into something like stablecoin opportunities like Coinbase provides. Coinbase provides 4.1% for just holding USDC on the platform. If you want to be in crypto and you don't want to be taking those type of risks, things like that are great, great, great opportunities. And now,
Some of us
wiser
get
than I was
12.
before, I go a lot towards them. Sorry, what was that, Paul?
Some of us get 12% on USDC.
Nexo has opened in the United States. They are reopening. They claim any day we're going to start getting Nexo level returns as US crypto holders. But if you give them a call whenever you got them on the phone next, Paul, let them
My
know.
friend Zester says, hurry up and open in the US. We need that
Exactly.
interest rate. I will say
Well,
it's a private company. I'm not vouching for them. Neither of us are vouching for them. I've used them for about 5 years now.
absolutely.
I've only got positive stories about them. They're fair, they're just, but I've never talked to anyone in person or over the phone. So, it's your crypto, your risk.
Yep. Well, did you see when they made the announcement that Nexo was coming back to the United States? It was in conjunction with the U.S. government.
Yeah.
They actually made a formal announcement with the U.S. government. That is batting way out of your league for a company like that. We're not even talking about a company that's valued in the many billions. for them to have had such large influence, I guess you could say, to have the United States government comment on the fact that Nexo is coming back, I think is a pretty clear indication of where staking opportunities are going for U.S. citizens in the future. I
I mean,
think
I'm in
it's
it
about
long
to
term.
become dominant
Yeah,
in the staking space is going to be U.S. investors. We're going to get the best rates. We're going to get the best pools. We're going to get the best opportunities because we're very much a part of the United States financial plan of spreading the US stablecoins around the world. And they're going to want us to help. And they're going to have us help by providing all of our liquidity into these different pools in the form of US dollars.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, I've used Nexo for many years now and I've never had any problems. I've moved crypto in, I've moved crypto out.
Hmm.
And, they've never caused me any stress, but we cannot vouch for them. Please don't take our word as gospel. I've done
Hmm.
reasonably well off it. I'm not going to lie. But also, the one thing I don't use on there, which we were talking about off camera, I don't use leverage. Okay. You will never see me endorse leverage. Most people who endorse leverage are desperate for you to put $5,000 on whatever exchange that they're using so they can get their cut. Okay. These people aren't making their money off of leverage because they wouldn't need to educate
Yeah.
educate you so they can get their cut. Okay. That's all lies. All right.
Yep. Yep.
Leverage is for the average person the worst thing you can do. Do not touch it. Do not go near it because trust me, you will get burnt. And Zester, how do people get burnt with leverage?
Oh, people get burnt with leverage because, especially in cryptocurrency, you're collateralizing, it's a loan. You're collateralizing that loan with a crypto that can fluctuate in price. And 99% of the time, people are placing that collateral in the form of the same cryptocurrency that they're betting on. And so you go in and you say, "Hey, I've got one Bitcoin. I want to make a trade worth 100 Bitcoin." You make that trade. It's a long position. You think Bitcoin's going up. The price of Bitcoin starts to drop. It only needs to drop less than 1%. And guess what? Your entire fund is going to be liquidated. All the money you had is going to be gone. And you're a jerk on top of that because not only did you lose your Bitcoin, you dropped the price of my cryptocurrency because you placed a 100 Bitcoin bet and you only had one Bitcoin. And so not only does the average retail investor suffer on account of these tools even being an option because it seems like investing. It's not, it's gambling. It seems like you're investing your money. You aren't. And now everyone else in the world who didn't gamble, I made a long-term investment. I am going to suffer in the short term because you only had one Bitcoin, $100,000 for ease, but you made a $10 million bet. And that means when you're wrong, the Bitcoin price charts are about to have a $10 million sale on them. And that means you're about to start making me lose because now the market is going to enter into a snowball phase. Margin trading, option trading, shorting, leverage. Paul, they're illegal. They're immoral. They never should have been allowed. And the biggest indicator of that is ask any financial institution to explain why these things are valuable and just wait for their logic because it is some of the easiest logic to poke holes in that you will ever find. These financial instruments are created by financial institutions for financial institutions. They are approved by bureaucracies like the SEC or the CFTC because they benefit the companies that pay those bureaucracies bills. And that's the only reason. They're not made for us. They are made to take money, reallocate funds from the more ignorant to the less ignorant. And that's all they really serve a purpose of. Paul, I get so angry about leverage, and so
Yeah.
many times people will send me like, "Hey, why are the charts going down?" And there's nothing going on. And I'm like, because enough dummies placed bets at this price point, and then one whale saw it and went, "You mean all I need to do is sell 100 million? If I sell 100 million, the price is going to drop 10%. What does this mean? This means that I can sell $100 million and I can buy back $100 million of value for guess what? 90 million. And so they do it. And they are just taking advantage of all of these retail investors who are setting them up. We are teeing them up to make this happen. I get so ornery, Paul. Sorry, I go on a
It's
tirade.
even worse now with AI. Now,
Mhm.
crypto trading is not regulated like the stock market. They are now deploying AI bots who work in um, um, a fraction of a second. That's how fast they work. You, traditional trading, you versus the machine, you're going to lose every time now. It's
Mhm.
gotten that bad. All they're
Yep.
doing is looking how to just scoop up your leverage position. That's all they're looking at. They're not even looking at the prices anymore. They're looking at who's gambling on what and can they take your money? And they
Mhm.
can every
Yep.
time.
Oh yeah. Yep. And it really is. It's one of those things where I want to make certain, Paul, that folks that we make this one clear. This is not a flaw of the technology. This is definitely a societal issue. This is not the technology having an issue. This is us, our law enforcement, et cetera, our culture essentially having an issue when it comes down to it, because most people nowadays don't believe in that pension, social security idea of a retirement or of becoming wealthy. We have definitely entered into the world of retirement is a matter of winning some bet. It's a gambling endeavor nowadays. And we're seeing that everywhere from children's video games all the way up to, to people making their plans for retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, I think we've put leverage to rights now. I think we should probably move into the news of the day. What do you reckon?
Hey, absolutely, Paul. Absolutely.
And of course, those out there who are leveraged, let's not forget if you win as well, guess good old Uncle Sam wants his piece of the pie. The White House reviews proposed IRS rule to tax Americans' foreign crypto accounts. And there's a new governing body that I was not aware of in the crypto space. The Trump administration has advocated for joining CARF, a global tax reporting agreement that would allow the IRS to better identify Americans' foreign crypto holdings. Now, let me just get the. There we go. The White House was reviewing the Treasury's proposed rules to join the global crypto asset reporting framework. This is scary because I did not know this organization existed. I didn't realize that countries around the world are now all signing up to this um, body so that they can get the information on you. If you've got your
Mhm.
crypto stored on a weird and wonderful exchange in Puerto Rico and you live in the UK, that could potentially get reported back to your main country, and you are going to be in a bit of tax trouble. This is something that everybody needs to pay attention to because you're not going to be hiding your crypto like you once did very soon.
Mm-mm. No, and that just made me think of have you noticed which cryptocurrencies are actually having a completely antithetical response to the current market? You can go check out Zcash,
Yeah, I heard
Monero, the
XRP's bringing
privacy
in.
ones.
Yeah, Zcash, XRP's just bringing it in now as well, but I think that's for
Mhm.
institutional money. There's a couple of others as well I've seen. Everybody is freaking out over this story, and they're
Yeah.
now trying to bring in privacy, which won't cut it. The government will not let you operate anonymously. We all know this.
Yeah, and where we talked about this one before, Paul, where they're gonna get you is the on ramp and the off ramp. That's where it's all going to happen. Is they're gonna get you when you go to take that Bitcoin and make a house purchase in the United States, bam, we have control now. And I'm speaking from the perspective of the US government. We have control now. We can start fiddling and we can get money out of this. We're going to take a cut somehow, some way. And it's a scary, scary thought, Paul, to imagine the world's governments working together to tax us. Um, that is not a that is an unexpected team up in certain ways. All the governments, especially all the G7 nations, being like, "Yeah, no, don't worry, we'll help you make certain that you tax Zester over there to the extreme."
Absolutely. And here's the one question the exchanges haven't started asking, and it is coming. Zester, where did you get your Bitcoin from?
Hmm. Hmm.
And when you can't justify where you've got that from, or they can see your Bitcoin has been through 30, 40, 50 different wallets, and somehow one of them belonged to Al Qaeda,
Hmm.
your
Yep.
Bitcoin will become blacklisted.
Hmm.
That one Bitcoin will become blacklisted. And this is something else that is coming because whatever the banks are doing, trust me, the crypto exchanges are going to be doing in the not too distant future, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time.
Hmm. Well, no, this is a catch-22. It's a double-edged sword. Blockchain provides the transparency, the accountability necessary to track down the guy that stole your money. It also provides the transparency and the accessibility for the United States government or for me to find out that Paul hasn't been paying his taxes. Um, it's a double-edged sword here. Essentially, we're saying, hey, we're all going to operate on an equal playing field. That sounds great when you are in a position where you feel like you have been operating in a disadvantaged playing field. That sounds like a great opportunity. When you enter into the situation of, wait a second, I just found out I had an advantaged playing field. Now suddenly this average playing field doesn't sound like as good of an idea anymore. That sounds a whole lot like communism, essentially. And so this is absolutely one of those situations where we're going to get the end of a lot of these different scammers, but we're also going to get the end of the whole idea of, you go and I guess tipping isn't as big of a deal in much of Europe, but in the United States, if you go out and do anything, you're expected to tip, essentially. Right, wrong, indifferent, whole other conversation. But one of the first things you'll hear Americans pretty much say every time, at least the nice ones, they'll tip in cash. Why? Because then the person doesn't have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
And so you'll say, oh, no, 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 put the bill on the debit card, but I'm going to tip you in cash. And that's a great way of getting a server to really appreciate when you show up at the restaurant. But it's going to be the end of those type of things because
Yeah.
ultimately, yes, you'll still be tipping with a doll hair in that moment, but all of those doll hairs are being accounted for by the blockchain now. They can't just disappear in the same way that they can today in the modern system. It's going to affect us from up to down, and I think people need to see through that and see towards the benefit of having accountability for our governments, our corporations, for our markets, that is far more valuable and that we in the long run won't need to be worried about paying near as much as we are today because, well, there'll be a whole lot less being wasted.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's wait and see because who knows? Because dare I say it, these governments like to get their piece of the pie. And
Hmm.
yeah, you can see it coming. On to our next story. XRP gets a major boost as four spot ETFs prepared for launch this week. We've got up to four spot XRP ETFs are expected to launch this week. Three more products could also go live the following week. Franklin Templeton is set to debut his XRP ETF. Now, this is wonderful news Other than the fact the price isn't responding to it, Zester.
Yeah,
Where do we go on
absolutely,
this
Paul.
news?
Absolutely, Paul. Well, I am excited about those ETF launches, and I think that they're a great thing. And I think that everyone just needs to take the mindset, especially these next four, because they're spot XRP ETFs. That means they need to actually physically buy XRP in order to back up the fund. Last week, the Canary ETF hit $58 million in first day volume. That's a slam dunk. Huge win, great, successful launch. Actually, broke all records for the entire year of 2025, exceeding every other ETF launch. But the price didn't go up. And Paul, it's not going to. These funds, very much so, need to actually build up and hold XRP. These funds are not benefiting the price of XRP by having volume. They're benefiting the price of XRP by having positive inflows. That means people buying these shares of these exchange traded funds and holding them for the long term. Because what does that mean? That means that that XRP is being locked up and it's not being traded. That's a great thing. That benefits the price. But absolutely, Paul, when it comes down to it, the fact that these are announced is not exciting. In a couple of months, when these ETFs have held $1 billion of XRP, $10 billion of XRP, and they're not having outflows. People are buying these funds and holding them. That's something to get excited about. That is going to have that positive influence on the price of XRP. And that's really what everyone should be paying attention to. It doesn't matter how many ETFs we launch. 900 ETFs launched in the year of 2025 as of last Friday. 900. XRP broke all records for all 900. But that still means 899 other of them came out, and they also did not have a crazy effect on the price of the underlying cryptocurrencies that they were participating in. It's all a matter of how people use these tools, not a fact that the tool exists.
Absolutely. I sit here and I'm like, ETFs, I'm not a big fan of anyway. I don't trust them. I know it's a spot ETF, but what are the rules on it? Because, dare I say it, are they trying to maybe use some of that money to play the game on XRP to try and buy it cheaper than what they're selling it at? There's a whole host of things. I truly believe you should hold your own crypto. And
Mm.
it's crazy to say, but once the institutions get involved, if they're not getting involved in the right way, it could bring more problems than it's worth. I mean, if one of them goes bust and they have to sell all that XRP because they had their hand in the cookie jar, it could be very detrimental. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's move
The
on to
one
our.
that it is exciting for, Paul. Sorry there, Paul. Did not
No,
mean
carry
to.
on.
The only one it's exciting for the folks who have been locked into 401k, IRA style retirements. Um, Folks that are stuck on pension style plans, self-directed IRAs, that is really for the average everyday. That's the only people that should be excited about these. If your retirement is based off of your own personal plans, this ETF announcements and all of them, they're not really things you care to participate in. You'd be far better off just buying the crypto.
Yeah, I mean, me, I'm still a big advocate. Just buy gold. I like holding gold. It's
Hmm.
obviously it is not in my house, just in case anyone out there is watching and going, let's go burgle Paul's house now. No, I don't hold it here. But it's steady. You've got to have a mixture of steady investments.
Hmm.
But let's talk about not so steady. The Bank of England. They can go do one when it comes to crypto. What the Bank of England stablecoin cap means for UK crypto users. Well, the Bank of England has unveiled plans that could reshape how UK cryptocurrency users hold and use stablecoins. The proposal introduces a temporary £20,000 cap on individual holdings of systemic Stablecoins, digital tokens designed to maintain a stable value and are usually pegged to a national currency such as the dollar or pound. Wow. This is the Bank of England in panic mode. And this was another story we were talking about just off camera, wasn't it? That
Mhm.
the money that's flowing into stablecoins is phenomenal because people are fed up of holding their own currency. And I talk about layer one blockchains and layer twos, layer threes. Well, when you think about it right here, right now, layer one is the US dollar. The US dollar backs everything currently. Layer twos
Mhm.
are your crackpot weird countries, and dare I say it, I throw the UK in that, where actually your currency isn't that strong. What would you rather
Mhm.
hold? Pounds or dollars? Well, right here, right now, I'd rather hold dollars because everybody else's economies are in the toilet. Don't get me wrong, the US isn't in a great place either.
Mhm.
But I can tell you right now, a small country is more likely to go bust than the USA.
Mhm.
This is my own
Mhm.
personal thoughts on this. You know, I hold stable coins that are US dollar backed because, and I'll just use Nexo again, the interest rates are phenomenal on Nexo, which tells
Mhm.
me inflation is far worse than we actually realize. And US dollar tends to do stronger than most other countries anyway. But this is just my thought processes. What are yours?
Well, Paul, I think that as an American, I have a differing opinion on what's going on because I'm biased, as I'll get at. But as you were saying that, it actually made me do a quick search because all US dollar stablecoins have in their token symbol USD. And so I just went over to CoinGecko and I put in into the search bar GBP. This is why that ban is about to occur because there are $1.9 million of stable coins for the Great British Pound. Total market cap combined 1.9 million. You can't buy a house in London, I don't think, with the
No.
overall market cap of Great British Pound stablecoins. So why is the UK not happy with stablecoins? Because all those stablecoins are denominated in US dollars. And yes, every country that is not the United States should be very concerned about this because this is absolutely what the United States is doing on purpose. We are on purpose flooding the world with our stable coins because you're going to pay off our debt for us. I know it doesn't sound like something you want to pay for, and you shouldn't have to, but that's what our government is doing. They plan on the entire planet paying off the US debt. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to get you all hooked to our petro cocaine, and that is going to be the US dollar stablecoins. We're going to offer percentages because we're just printing the money. It's not real. Don't worry about it. And so you can get 10% on your money if you just hold it in US dollars. But guess what? Hold it in British pounds, you're going to lose money. You're not going to only not make money, you're going to lose money. Look at those silly stable coins. It's going to continue to spread. And we've already seen weak nations have already fallen.
Yeah.
And nations with weak economies are already falling. Venezuela, Nigeria, in many ways, India is starting to see a massive, massive increase. Folks are fleeing from native currency. Look at El Salvador. Go over to Uruguay, where now you can just go into the store and guess what you're paying in. The dollar denomination is in USDT. You don't go to the grocery store and buy in US dollars. You go and buy with Tether, a
Yeah.
US backed stablecoin. It's absolutely the plan. The Russian minister talked about it like 6 months ago, I think, at this point in time, where he laid out what the United States is doing. And we're doing it. And the UK government, I think, is very right to have a reaction to it. I don't think they had the right reaction, but they are very, very correct in seeing that there's a problem going on right now because nobody is buying stablecoins that are not backed by US dollars or gold or silver. Nobody.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're sitting here and it's spreading like wildfire. You know, would I put Great British pounds in the bank right now? No, you've got to be off your Nelly to do that. Would I buy stable coins? 100%. Because if my economy's collapsing, I'd rather be invested in the US dollar and then one day I'll just sell them and make a killing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just, it's obvious. And the way Trump is pro economy now, it's only going to spread, as you rightly said. People are going to be scooping up stable coins and, you know, they're buying into the US business. They're
Mm-hmm.
buying in. That's what
The
we're all
U.S.
doing.
corporation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, stable coins is something that all countries should be scared of.
Hmm. Every country besides the United States should hate stablecoins, essentially.
Yeah.
Right now, and we as Americans should probably be very, 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 very scared of what our government is doing. Because while it, and I laugh about it because, well, it's better to laugh than to cry. It is not a good thing. It's not a moral thing. It's not a just thing. It's a just what we're doing thing. And that is what you need to understand. I hope folks understand in terms of my explanation on it. It's not a matter of whether it's right or wrong. It's what's happening. Um, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's a conversation that's going to be have probably post-mortem on this because the United States is going to continue spreading stablecoins around backed on the US dollar. It's working.
Yeah.
And so in the long run, we're going to figure out how much damage we've done to the planet with our strategy to pay off the US debt. And people are going to be mad at us about it. But I think current politicians in the United States are more than willing to leave that to future generations.
Mm, absolutely. Right. Next story. Samurai Wallet co founder Bill Hill sentenced to 4 years in prison for unlicensed money transmitting. The 67-year-old Hill's recent autism diagnosis, as well as his advanced age, seemed to serve as mitigating factors for the sentencing judge. Now, what is Samurai Wallet, Zester?
And I'll go ahead right off the top and say I've not used Samurai, but I know what Samurai does. It's a mixing wallet, in the same way as other cryptocurrency smart contracts or tools have been in the past, like Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash was a crypto mixer. What you would do is you would send your crypto to essentially through the tornado. And what it would do is it would mix your crypto with all kinds of other cryptocurrencies, legal ones, illegal ones, ones that were found in Kazakhstan, ones in China, things that have originated from all over the planet. And what it does is essentially mix them all together and then it spits them out clean. It's a crypto mixer. Um, you put dirty money in, you get clean money out. Or you put clean money in and you get clean money out. It could be used for both legitimate and illegitimate reasons. In the case of Samurai, to my knowledge, the big problem here was there was a guy to go track down. Um, because Tornado Cash won their lawsuit against the United States government. Tornado Cash won. It is not illegal to mix where your funds are coming from. It is not. Not in the vast majority of all financial transactions, and it never should be. If I go to buy a TV at Walmart, it's not Walmart's problem where I got that money from, and Walmart can shut up about it, in my personal opinion. But this is one of those weird spaces, Paul, where it is. We kind of have to have that. It's like that Patriot Act conversation in the United States. How much of your personal liberty are you willing to give up for perceived security? And in situations like this, I would say that Samurai and the creator should absolutely not be in jail for anything. He did nothing wrong. I think it's a travesty of the legal system and obviously them trying to make a point out of they don't want techies to show people that there are other ways to utilize this technology. And so, um, I feel very, very bad for the guy. I think he probably knew this was coming, or at least he suspected it. And I hope that in the coming months that it ends up being overturned, at least on that point. On the other parts of what he has done, I'm not commenting on that. I'm commenting on the idea of creating a crypto mixer. It should be legal.
I think crypto mixers, the idea of them shouldn't be illegal because it's just a tool. The
Hmm.
problem is how they're abused, and that's it.
Yep. Yep.
Right, jumping into the next story, we got to talk about Andrew Tate. Now, obviously, he's normally in the papers for his outspoken opinions and everything. Well, he's now being called one of the worst crypto traders in history. And oh dear, Andrew Tate called one of the worst crypto traders after losing over $800,000. And do you remember us talking earlier on in the show, everyone, about leverage and gambling? Well, the one thing you shouldn't do is double down. I'm going to read this story because we need the context. Market watchers are labeling Andrew Tate as one of the worst traders in crypto after he was completely liquidated on Hyperliquid, losing over $800,000. He joins a growing list of high profile traders who have seen their fortunes evaporate on the platform. Tate's repeated liquidations underscore the harsh reality of employing high leverage. Here we go. So, a company called Arkham Blockchain Analysis uncovered the extent of Tate's trading losses. The former kickboxer deposited $727,000 into Hyperliquid, a decentralized perpetual exchange. All his funds remained on the exchange, locked into losing trades until they were completely liquidated. So, because he lost all that, he thought he'd just carry on going. The Tate attempted to recover by trading with referral income. He received $75,000 from users joining through his referral link. Instead of withdrawing these rewards, cutting his losses, oh no, 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 no. He used them in further trades. All $75,000 disappeared through the same cycle of liquidation. He's got he didn't get totally liquidated. He's still got $984. Some
What?
people thought he'd been liquidated many times before. So they're saying actually he may have a history of losing through gambling on Hyperliquid.
Mm-mm.
Um, it gets worse as you keep reading through this. It just keeps, honestly, his streak continued into this month. On November the 14th, he was liquidated again, this time while holding a Bitcoin long at 40 times leverage. The wipeout cost him $235,000. I mean, we could just keep reading, but most of these news articles, if not all these news articles, are on xrps.com, xrpboys.com, my apologies. So
Mhm.
honestly, you can read about all the nitty gritty stuff there. But Zester, does this reiterate what we talked about at the beginning of the show?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If people are trying to convince you or anyone else to get into these type of leverage trading, it's because they're being paid by the companies providing these leverage trades. The overall success rate on the vast majority of different financial instruments of this kind, whether it's options, margins, shorting, leverage, it is 90 plus percent is the failure rate. And so in all honesty, you could argue that Tate didn't do that bad. He succeeded 33.5% of the time. He's actually beating the odds on that one. Credit given to Tate. He's a little bit better of a trader than the normal person is. And he still managed to lose 99.999% of all his funds. It's a great lesson for folks out there. When it's Tate, it's funny because, well, he's a boisterous and outspoken human being that it's fun to mess with. But it's a very, very real lesson for everyone out there, and it's obvious that he was funding that based entirely off of Hyperliquid sponsoring him. And then the referral bonuses that he kept dumping in and continually losing were supposed to be the paycheck.
I mean, I dread to think because if he's doing this as a crypto guru, which he probably is, and those people followed him down that rabbit hole. Well, no, it's not even a rabbit hole. Bottomless pit. How would you describe it?
Oh, yeah. The black hole. Yeah. It's going to literally be compressed into nothingness. And the irony is that if you have that large of a following, your position should have worked. If I had 100,000 people watching me and I said, "Hey, everybody, we're going to take a long position on this small cryptocurrency," you know what's going to happen? That cryptocurrency's price is going to go up because I just convinced 100,000 people to take leveraged positions on a small cap crypto. He should have never been able to fail. Like, he should have honestly been able to continually scam a lot of money without technically breaking any laws. I mean, immoral, 1000%. Legal, technically, yes. Um, shouldn't be. But yeah, the fact that he managed to fail to that large of a degree, he could have just taken long positions on small cryptos, and he could have fleeced his entire community because he would have succeeded on every single trade. He'd had a 100% success rate.
I mean, I just sit here, and as you rightly said, he should have somehow made money unless he went one way and actually he was going the other way all along. Who knows? I mean, obviously, we're seeing this, which is the official crypto
Mm,
holdings. Who knows? But the fact he doubled down with what little money he earned just to see if he could recoup it. I mean, I dread to think the people that follow him that have probably currently lost a lot of their own hard-earned money.
yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. And I feel bad for all of them. I question listening to Andrew Tate's financial advice. But absolutely, real world people get caught up inside of it. And if he did actually go about it in a, in a knowledgeable way, other people would have suffered on account of it, because he would have been manipulating a market. And
Mm.
so there's no sparkly, shiny Andrew Tate coming out on top on this one. If he had succeeded through using that methodology, he would have been a crook. He has failed in it, and so he looks like a dummy. There was no winning besides making a lot of money because that money he put into Hyperliquid, I would imagine that he got a lot more than just that. He may have doubled down with that 75,000, but sponsorships of that nature, those financial companies know what they're doing. I followed a channel that was back in the day that was tied to FTX that way, because I thought it was so interesting to watch what the insanity was that was going on the channel. But those channels made a fortune because they appear to be a crypto trading channel. They're about trading and educating
Yeah.
you about trading. But what they actually are is they're actually just sponsored by the exchange. They're
Yeah.
out to advertise gambling and they're out to convince you to gamble on that platform. And that's all he was doing. He may have been the one who lost on this one, but undoubtedly he lost tens of millions for his followers.
Yeah. I don't doubt for a split second. There's a lot of people who have lost a lot of money now, and I think we're probably quite early doors to this story, and I think we're going to see a lot about this one moving
Hmm.
forwards because they like to hate on Andrew Tate, and well, they're probably going to use this quite heavily to do that. And we're
Hmm.
going to move into our last story of the day, which is an interesting one. Senators push for probe into Trump linked crypto firm over token sales tied to North Korea and Russia. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Jack Reed are seeking a probe of a Trump tried. Oh my words. Word spaghetti, Paul. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Jack Reed are seeking a probe of a Trump tied crypto firm over alleged links to illicit actors in North Korea and Russia. This is obviously over WLFI. They're
Yeah.
saying that WLFI was selling to anybody and everybody, and some of those were North Korean and Russia, which what they're then saying is could they potentially have power over a sitting president, his family, you name it. So this is how it's going. It has come from CNBC, so we will take this one with a pinch of salt. But looking at this, I mean, do we take much into that, Zester, or should we just wipe that one to the side and say whatever?
Well, I mean, I would say I'll go with whatever on these entities having influence over the president. I'll definitely go with whatever. But on there legitimately having been security issues with World Liberty Financial, remember, Paul, I wasn't allowed to buy it.
Yeah,
I could have very easily bought it, but I was not technically allowed to buy it. But it was extremely easy to buy as an American. I mean, extremely easy. It was click box. No, I'm not an American. Congratulations. You've just made the purchase. The number one factor to be a purchaser of World Liberty Financial was to not be an American. Because if you were an American, you had to be an accredited investor. That's 1/1000th of the populace of the United States, a not just a minority, a micro minority. So the number one factor was not being American. I do not think that it is in any way unexpected that a buttload of non-Americans bought World Liberty Financial. I think it's a hit piece in terms of CNBC, designed to make Trump look bad. But it is based on a nugget of truth. And that nugget of truth is that World Liberty Financial did not give a crap where you were from. They let you buy no matter what, which is honestly how pre-sales should work. So I don't know, Paul. That one's funny to me, that especially with it being Elizabeth Warren, because Elizabeth Warren has been trying with cryptocurrency for the longest time, and she is, when she speaks about the topic, got to be one of the most ignorant human beings on the planet that I have ever heard try to act like they know how this technology works. But she is making it in to a huge part of her political future. Um, she is the mantle of central bank digital currencies in the United States. She is the largest politician in the entire country pushing for CBDCs and for some of these other things. So whenever I hear about her in crypto, I just laugh. She is bought and paid for by somebody.
well, Zester, I think that is a wonderful story to end the show on. And if all you had to do was not tick the box and say you're not an American, I'm amazed you held back and didn't buy yourself a few
Well,
tokens.
I would have had to buy it publicly on live stream, so that I will say that highly influenced me. If I were just Joe Blow, no live stream, not helping people, and having an obvious track record of having worked in crypto, I'd just gone in and bought some if I wanted some, because it was nothing more than clicking a box.
Yeah.
But I felt like there may have been an issue with me educating people on how to technically commit a financial crime, so I didn't.
I
I,
mean, you could have done it for giggles, but oh well. Yeah, I think it was
I
probably better you didn't go down that
too
path.
too pretty for prison, Paul. Too pretty for prison. Then don't think that'd work out well. I'm far happier on the straight and narrow.
Well, Zesta, where can everybody find you?
Oh, over on Crazy Kryptonaut on YouTube would probably be the best spot to go check me out. Been putting out videos regularly, doing a zero to retirement challenge. So we're having a lot of fun over there. And definitely, Paul, I'm gonna need to get you over there to check out some of our different programs. We're having fun, if anything.
Oh, fantastic. And you haven't got any plans to leverage what you've earned to try and just go 0 to 1 million tomorrow?
No. I've never used leverage in my life, and I have no intention of ever doing so. I'm far happier spot trading. If I'm gonna trade, I'll spot trade.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you made it to the end of the show, you must have liked what we've done. All the news that we talk about and more is over on xrpboys.com. You can find all my other content now on brooker.tv. So all that's left is for me to thank Zester for joining me. Thank you all for watching us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. So take care, everybody. God bless. See you all soon. Bye now.